Welcome to an exciting journey beyond the ordinary. You know, we've all been raised with that quintessential American dream. Go to college, snag a degree, nab a cozy 9-to-5, secure a house, raise a family, and sail smoothly into retirement. It's the blueprint for success etched into our minds through media, family talks, and school lessons. But what if I told you there's a different path, a path less traveled? I'm your host, Jesse Diaz, and in this podcast, we dive deep into stories that challenge the norm, stories that awaken the dreamer within. We'll explore how individuals are breaking away from convention, pursuing their passions, and crafting a life that's uniquely their own. As I delved into the world of podcasts and listened to voices that dared to chase their dreams, I found myself drawn to their stories. These stories made me question the conventional narrative that success is confined to a checklist. And so this podcast was born, a platform to showcase those who are carving out their own path and living life on their own terms. Our first episode features an artist who thrives on controversy, an enigma known as Faceless, often referred to as the art villain. Now, you might not see eye to eye with this unconventional figure. Heck, you might not even warm up to him. But here's the thing. Faceless is unapologetically living life on his own canvas, defying norms, and inspiring us to embrace our passions. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a ride beyond your wildest dreams. Join me as we peel back the layers, engage in thought-provoking conversations, and explore what it truly means to live life less ordinary. This is Press the Flesh, where we press the boundaries, embrace the tangible, and celebrate the pursuit of individuality. Whether you're intrigued, fascinated, or simply curious, I guarantee this episode will leave you pondering the power of creating your own path. Welcome to Press the Flesh. Enjoy the episode. I'm here with Faceless. Like this is it's crazy because you have a pretty big following, and I was like, maybe I should reach out to him. I'm a different demographic. Like I'm like a family guy. I'm not really into the shit that you're like into, like, and I just see this guy that's doing crazy shit out in the desert, and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know if he's gonna respond to me. Dude, you responded to me in like minutes.
Well, the funny thing is I used to get approached a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't feel like I was ready yet to go out there and let people record me. And for the last year, I've kind of been ready. And I think because of all the controversies and everything that I've done, no one has hit me up. You're the first guy that's hit me up in like 6 months to do. I do collabs, like I just did the anti-state collab, but you're the first person that hit me up. And I've been waiting. I'm like, the next person that hits me up, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So I think because of all the tunnel rat, the art villain, the bad influencer, the controversial skits that I'm doing, probably the murder allegations. People don't want to work with me anymore. So
the murder allegations.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that, but I was implicated in the murder, the girls, the 4 girls in Idaho. Yeah, the internet implicated me in the murder of those 4 girls with that guy Brian Christopher Koberger. I think, what was that? It was like Idaho, I think. Yeah, it was like Idaho. So it was kind of a meme at first, but then Reddit picked it up, and they were like, "Who's this guy?" And they thought, because they saw my videos. Yeah. And I probably didn't help by playing into it, and I acted like I was a Washington State University alumni, and I knew the guy, and it just blew up. It's like thousands of people thought I like was fleeing Idaho to go to California to get away from the implications and shit. So,
but you just like stirring shit up. Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Right. Like. Yeah. And like, do you want to get into that? Like.
Yeah, that's I would love to get into. That's kind of how I got the name Art Villain. We can get into how Faceless began, but to kind of fast forward a little bit, when I was already faceless and I was already doing my art villain stuff, when Biden got in and he botched the Afghanistan pullout, I don't know if you remember, but there was grown men pushing women and children out of the way to get on to climb onto the wing and the wheel hubs of planes at the Kabul airport. Do you remember that?
Yes,
and
yes.
the plane was flying up in the air and people were falling off the planes. And it became like some weird humanitarian issue where like, they're so afraid of the country, of ISIS, that they're trying to escape. It's like, I see grown men pushing women and children out of the way to get out of the country because they didn't want to fight, right? And we can be honest, Biden botched that pullout. But what I did that same day, because I thought it was abhorrent seeing these guys doing this, is I went home and I drew a design, and we can throw it up I can send you the file, but it was called, it said Kabul Skydiving Club. And it was like a really cool retro 80s design, and it had a plane, and it had people like falling off of the plane. And I gave the rights to that to Instagram user named Crimesman, and I let him put it all up on a bunch of Depop like drop shipping websites that same night. And dude, from what I heard, he made thousands of dollars, people selling them, and it was those automated drop shipping websites, right?
Yeah.
And I got so much hate for it. People, this is so disgusting. And then copycats started copying that design and selling it on other websites. And I think it was the Washington Post or the Washington Reporter or something wrote about how someone is selling these disgusting, designs, these disgraceful designs of people falling off planes at Kabul airport and making fun of the Afghanistan pullout. And that was like my first big controversy was I was the originator of that design, and that was like, people were so mad. This is distasteful. This is disgusting.
But you had no connection to it because you gave the rights to...
I'm the one who drew it, though. Yeah. I'm the one who designed it. But yeah, I didn't, like, they never shouted my name out, but my Instagram was blowing up. People were pissed about it because I was the guy who originally posted it. Yeah. And everyone was screenshotting it and reposting it. And that was like my first big, there probably was a few other ones, but that was one of my big controversies, was people really pissed about how distasteful that design was. But that was why, that's kind of why I do it now, is I want to obviously bring awareness to things, but I do enjoy stirring shit up with my artwork.
And like meeting you, you organize everything. Like you're very organized. You plan shit out. Mm-hmm. Like it's not chaotic. When I was driving over here, I was like, man, this could be chaos.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more methodic than people.
Like, where did this come from? Like, where did Faceless come from? Obviously, was it planned out? Was it something that was just born out of nowhere? Where did Faceless start?
I think it was a long time coming. I started doing, I would say, consistent artwork when I was 15. I started doing graffiti, started doing graphic design. I really looked up to brands that were on Fairfax in Los Angeles, back before Supreme was sellout, and when it was blowing up. Stussy, Classic was one, Keith Huff Nagel, Obey was another one, but then it started getting, really, really liberal. But I was looking up to those guys, and I started doing graffiti and kind of really diving into the underground art world. And I think art for me has been an uphill battle. It's always been something that's come naturally, and I've always had an eye for it, but it's always been an uphill battle from even when I started. When I initially went into art class at, I think that was freshman year of high school, I had this teacher who wanted to skip over all of the technicals and the basics of shading. I went into art class because I wanted to become technical. I wanted to become better. And I had a teacher who, some fucking like liberal art student teacher who glorified graffiti. And he skipped over all the stuff that I was there to learn to teach me stuff that I was already doing outside of high school on the daily, And that was like my first introduction. And that's actually why I failed art in high school, was we just butted heads so much. And I remember getting into a fight with him initially where I was like, dude, I'm out here doing this shit every day outside of school. You're just glorifying it. You're not living this actual lifestyle. You just want to glorify it for the glory, the glory of being a street artist, Banksy. I'm out there actually doing it in the aqueduct and on, government buildings and stuff. And that was like my first uphill battle. I would say at the end of the year after I failed because I just kept wanting to learn the practicals of art and the basics, and I just didn't play his little game of wanting to do his graffiti project. I was joking around with him and I was like, hey, so am I coming into art 2 or art honors? And he looked at me and he goes, you're never going to be an artist. I was like, all right, okay. Say, okay. And that's the one that really stuck with me. And over the next 4 years, I just drew all the time. Yeah, so the next 4 years, I worked hard on pencil art. I started painting. I was still doing graffiti constantly. Getting into crazy shit, running away from cops. We can go into that. You know, I ran away from a police helicopter in my boxers when I was like 17, I think.
So take us through that. Take us.
Okay.
Yeah, friends doing graffiti. Doing like graffiti, one of the big things is like kind of scouting spots and looking for stuff. So I had a bunch of different groups of friends that I'd go around with, kind of scout out spots. And there's an abandoned neighborhood near my house. And we're like, let's go look. It's like tract homes that they built on unstructured foundation. So they couldn't actually finish the building project. But it was these brand new homes, like completely furnished brand new homes. So like, let's go break into them and like look in what we see, you know? And so we're breaking into these houses. It was actually kind of funny because I remember one of my buddies climbs into a house because he's like, dude, these look like they got lights on. There's furniture in all of them. And I knew that they were abandoned. It was an abandoned housing project, but my buddy climbs in through the window and he goes, oh my God, there's people in here. And I'm like, no, there's not. He's like, dude, I swear. And I look in there and it's mannequins sitting on the freaking couches. And he's like, he's freaking out, like, just fucking mannequins, dog. Yeah. So we go across the street and we're breaking into the house. And that same buddy, he was like, dude, someone just ran up the stairs. I was like, bro, stop it. Like, these are empty houses. He's like, I swear someone just ran up the stairs. I was like, no, dude. You know, now he's messing with me. Yeah. So we're trying to break this door open. Like straight up, we're just breaking and entering at this point. We're just breaking doors open, going inside. And as I am entering, I hear a glass shattering above me. And I go and look, and a foot comes straight out of the top window. And there's like a garage that was connected to in front of it. And I look out, and I'm looking at this guy kicks a foot straight out of the window, and he climbs out of this window, and he's looking down at us, and he's trying to run. The only thing I've been able to deduce it to is I think he thought he's a homeless guy. He looked raggedy as fuck. He's a homeless dude, and he thinks we're going to go in there and hurt him. So he's trying to escape out the top as we're coming in. I watched this dude slip, fall on his back, and then roll off the top of the garage, and slam right on the ground in front of us. And we're like, oh shit, and just start running. So we're running back to our truck. We get to the truck, and it's not police, but it's the citizen patrol trucks. Yeah. It's those guys that drive the citizen patrol. And they got the light on us, and he's like, I don't know if this is allowed, but he aimed a gun and a flashlight at us. I don't know if they're allowed to aim a gun at you, but this guy's like, freeze, straight up. And I'm like, hands up, right? Because I'm 16, 17, somewhere around there. And I'm like, oh shit. My buddy on my left side, I look at him, and he looks at me, and and the guy's like, get down. And so my buddy starts getting down on his knees. And in my head, I know, like, I'm not getting down on my knees already. I know, because we just broke and entered in like 4 different homes. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not getting arrested. I look over at my other buddies, and we all it was like we all read each other's minds. We knew what we were going to do. We were just boom, just straight running to the right. And there's this big wall. And back then I was able to like get over any wall that was twice my height. As long as I can get my fingertips on it, I'm over that wall. That's where I'm doing graffiti. I skipped a very important part of the story. The reason I was in my boxers is because I grew up poor. Sometimes we'd have some stuff, but most of the time we didn't have a lot. And this was one of the first times in my young adult life that I bought brand new pants for myself. Brand new pants. I didn't know we were going to go scouting or breaking into houses. I don't want to mess these jeans up. I spent $60 jeans back in like 2013 was crazy expensive. Like especially at that, I think that was like, actually it was like 2011. You know what I mean? It was like somewhere around 2011. So that was crazy expensive. So I left them in the truck. And then we started doing, so I was like, oh, I'll just wear my boxers like they were shorts, right? So I'm in my boxers, and flash forward, we're running, jumping over fences. It was like Ferris Bueller's day off, where he's trying to get back to his house. I'm running through people's yards. I can hear that cop chasing the citizen patrol chasing right after us. And I'm running through, like, barreling through playground equipment, like jumping over people, like clotheslines. It was like cliche. It was almost like it was like crazy. I'm like jumping over people's picket fences and shit, running through this neighborhood, Jamestown too. Running through there, boom, 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 boom. All my friends, it was like coordinated because we were super into breaking into high schools, running through tunnels, breaking into houses. And so I was like super athletic. At this time, it was when I was really skinny. So I was able to just like float over fences and shit, just float over them. And we get to a park, and we're talking about what we got to do. And my friend on my left side, he had followed us, so we're all there. We all ran away, and the friend that was on my left side, it was his truck that the citizen patrol was parked next to. So I have to go back to my truck, dude. I'm like, yeah, I guess you do. He's like, you gotta come back with me. I'm like, hell no. Like, that's your truck, dog. I'm not going back with you. Why do we all have to go down? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, just go get your truck and tell them that, I don't know, like tell them that you parked there and you were on a walk. Like that we had nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? And so one of my other buddies decided to go with him. I took my friend, I'm like, we're going to go. We're going to walk home. It's about 6 miles home. We're going to walk home. Start walking home. And at one of the stretches, I can see all the way down, there's more cop cars there now. I can see it. Like, you can see the lights in the distance. It's like a good, 2/3 of a mile away. I'm walking, I look, and I'm like, damn, they're pulling out the full force. That's crazy. And I can see a helicopter in the distance. And I was joking with my buddy. I slapped him. I'm like, hey, they got the helicopter looking for us too. I shit you not, right as I said that, I see the spotlight turn, and it starts coming towards us. And I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. And it starts coming closer and closer, and I'm like, we gotta go. So we're running. I see a front yard. I jump underneath this dude's truck, climb under the truck, and we see the helicopter fly by. And I'm like looking underneath, because I'm like, they have FLIR, you know what I mean? I'm climbing underneath trucks. I'm looking up underneath, and it goes right to this, which FLIR might even penetrate through a truck. I'm not too sure, but I'm climbing underneath this dude's truck, and I'm looking, and it goes right, and I can see the spotlight circling that abandoned housing track. It's like, oh shit, dude. And I hear more sirens. Woo, 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 more sirens get there. Dude, it was like SWAT showed up. And so we start running, and we're running, and that helicopter starts opening its path of search, bigger and bigger. And there's points where I'm hiding underneath people's patios, and I see the freaking thing fucking come in the spotlight, looking for us. And I'm like, that has to be for us. Like, there's no coincidence there. That's looking for us. So we run about 6 miles where we're climbing underneath trucks. I'm covered in dirt, like trying to get away from this thing because I don't know what the hell's happening. It's actually kind of funny. I get home, I walk in through the door, we're all covered in dirt, we're dead, we're like tired. Come inside, my dad's like, he can hear the helicopter. He's like, oh, it's almost as if they're looking for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Oh, it's crazy. I don't know. They're looking for something. Yeah. And later on, I told my dad that story, and he's like, I remember that night. They were looking for you. That's fucked up. But what happened to my friend is they walked back. Dude, that dude was so scared of cops. He was so terrified. He walked back to the truck. They fucking tackle him, like, get him, like tackle him, rough him up, put him up against the truck, and they're like, he's all shaking, and they're like, are you on any drugs? And he's like, yes. And my buddy looks at him, he's like, you're a fucking idiot. What? And the cop, light right in his face, like mag light right in his face. What drugs are you on? Or he goes, show me your tongue. And he goes, my friend, I heard this from my buddy who was there, word for word, told me the stories. And the cop fucking like pulls his chin down. Let me see your tongue. And he has his tongue out, and he goes, what drugs are you on? He goes, I've taken ibuprofen, Motrin, he goes, cop goes, I've done those before, and they don't make me act like the way you're fucking acting. And so they lock him up, they fucking put him in handcuffs, put him in the back, impound the truck, and that's the only part I was pissed. The funny thing is my homie who owned the truck told me he's like, hey, if I don't meet up with you guys later and my mom calls you, tell her that I just dropped you off no matter what. Yeah. She calls me at like 11 at night, and I'm like, he just dropped me off. What I didn't know is that this fool was in jail. This fool was straight up in jail. And truck was impounded. Dude, I had to wait so long to get my fucking pants back. I was so mad, dude. They also found inside that truck a bunch of like random shit that we had taken. Like we took an antenna from one of the schools that we broke into. I don't know why. I thought it'd be cool if we spray painted a Captain America shield on it. And yeah, exactly. Just like fucking, like, we had a bunch of random shit, like a surveillance camera and shit. Like we'd taken, we never stole like anything. We were actually inside a school one day, and we walked into the photography room, and they had expensive ass DSLRs, and we never took anything like that. It was always like weird off the wall, like, oh, that's sick, dude. It's like an old like surveillance camera, you know. It's an old, like that antenna looks like a shield. So we were just like menace to society type shit, you know. And I don't know what happened to the homeless guy, but I watched that fool smack straight on the ground, and he was not breathing, dude. Like straight from a freaking story high, just boom.
It's crazy because like you said, your friend's scared of cops. Like there's being scared of cops, like. Mm-hmm. Like being scared of cops, like isn't just you see a cop walking by and you're scared of him.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, you guys are what, 16, 17?
Yeah.
You guys are 17 and you have a helicopter, you have cops chasing you. And in his head, I feel like that's the normal response to all that happening. But in your head,
that's
like, like what's going on in your head when you're underneath the car? And you're seeing the
survival. Nothing else. I go blank. Like my tunnel story, I go blank, dude. And I'm just like, I have a goal and I'm going to accomplish it. That's all it is. I just turn into a different person, I guess. I just go completely blank and don't register any of that. You know? But you're right. There was like, totally skipped it. The reason that there was so much cop cars and so much resources being used is that citizen patrol fucker lied and called the police and said that there was like 12 of us and we were all there stealing copper. That's what he said. And so they all came out full force. Yeah. Because it was a developed housing project that had been abandoned, and they had I guess there was a lot of money invested in it, and they do regular patrols around there. And he told them that there was like 12 of us, and that's what I guess we're on the charges. For my buddy, like that's what the officer reported on the write-up or the investigation report or whatever. That's what it said was like 12, whatever. You know, he listed 12 people and that we were stealing copper. That's what he said. And maybe that was his excuse to like aim a gun at us or use whatever jurisdiction that he didn't have to chase after us or whatever the fuck he did. You know, maybe it was to make him look better, and that's why he made such a big fuss or something, you know. But the citizen patrol dudes are like, they're way more gung-ho than a rookie cop. They're, you know, they want to catch the bad guys. They want to clean up the streets. So we weren't even doing anything wrong. We were just breaking and entering. Yeah. We didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. But like that not being able to feel fear, like you talking right now, it's like you're not even in, it sounds like you weren't even like fearful of what was going to happen to you. You're like, let me just escape.
Yeah, I think I was young. I think maybe part of it was young, and like I have a weird disposition to believe that I'm anointed and I'm protected and that everything's going to work out. Like I always believe that everything's going to work out in my favor. And for the most part, it has. Pretty much everything's worked out in my favor. Like I can't tell you any stories about my downfall. I really like maybe a young heartbreak or something like that. But pretty much when I put my mind to it, everything's worked out. And it's crazy because the older I get, the more that feeling gets strong, like the stronger it gets. Because I'm like, dude, my guardian angels are working on double time. Like they saved me from so much. So I think that's one of the biggest things. Even my brother, he rides the motorcycles. When I ride with him, and now my sister-in-law too, they tell me, they're like, oh, you're a good rider, but you scare us. Because I asked them, I was like, hey, are you worried for my brother? Because he rides crazy. And she's like, I'm worried for you. I'm like, why are you worried for me? What the hell? Like, that's offensive. She's like, you have like no regard for anything. She's like, you are extremely overconfident. What'd she say? Something about me being extremely overconfident, having no regard, and just like riding too crazy, I guess. And I was like, damn, I'm like, I feel like I'm riding perfectly fine. I feel like I'm doing good. Yeah. I'm a great rider.
And you're not you from hearing you say that you don't drink, you don't do any drugs.
Straight edge.
Yeah, pretty straight edge. Mm-hmm. And like, that's pretty wild to know that you don't have this insane outlook on life, like because you're on drugs or you're drunk all the time.
Yeah. I was talking to someone recently.
Like, do you gamble a lot?
No.
No.
I don't gamble at all. I gambled one time. It was on a boat on the way to Puerto Vallarta, and I put $40 in, and it went, and I was like, this is going to be fun. We're in international waters, and I pull the thing down, and it was like, ew, and I was like, pull it down again. It was like nothing. I was like, wait, did I just lose $40? And the girl with me was like, yeah, that's gambling. I was like, I don't want to do this again. So that's one of my downfall stories, is losing $40 on a boat. But it's like, this was not fun at all. And so I never gambled again. That was it.
You're an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, I think I think the adrenaline junkie probably has to do with growing up doing BJJ. I think that's part of it, was that adrenaline when you do a tournament, you know, that being a young kid in your tournament, you're so nervous and your stomach's twisting, and then you do okay. You're like, that was amazing, right? Or even if you get smashed, it was like, that was still pretty cool. Growing up doing that, and then wrestling in high school. Straight out of high school, my first job was working at a snowboard resort. And we're about 40 minutes away from it. And I'd go up there, and I think the first year I didn't touch a snowboard because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that shit. It's not for me. Because I broke my arm on a skateboard when I was a kid. I have a bunch of crazy stories. So I was like, I was trying to stay away from the action sports. And then the second year, I was like, let me try, get on, start having fun. And then it eventually spiraled into me every day before work, I was boarding. Every day after work, I was boarding. And it was like, I think it messed up my adrenaline receptors, because it was so much adrenaline every single time. I'd hit those jumps so hard, dude. I'd fly as high as I could. And it actually got out of control. I got a hairline fracture behind my eyeball before work one day. Like, it actually got out of control. I had to get pulled down in the ski lift, or the rescue guys had to pull me down in that lift. But I think it messed up because after that, my adrenaline hasn't been right ever since then, because it was every day of the season for years. Sure. And I don't know if it ever came back, dude. Like, I think that kind of helped make me an adrenaline junkie. You know what I mean? Yeah,
your life experience, like, you want life experiences. Mm-hmm. Like, 'cause that's what I noticed with myself. Like, I fought. After fighting, I'm like, okay, what's next? Mm-hmm. And I'm going out and I'm doing podcasts. I'm like, this is fun. Yeah. And I'm like looking for the next thing, and it might be a high.
It might be ADD too. Like, with me, I think so to touch on that with two things, a lot of people describe me as larger than life. And most of my friends are like, how do you always get yourself into these experiences? A lot of people, I think there's people that are skeptical. No one's brought it up to me, but there's probably some people that are skeptical out there. And I know I've had friends that are like, why don't I ever have any interesting stories like you? And I think it's because they're just not open to it. I'm the type of guy that'll like I said, I'll match with someone on Tinder, and just for the experience of it, like, even if there's been times where I thought there's no way I'm going to get robbed right now. Like, I'm not going to get robbed. Like, so I had my P238 on me, and I had it in my pocket, and I'm just like on my way to this really cute girl's house at like 1 a.m. Like, I'm getting robbed right now. I'm going to get robbed, but this is going to be a great story. You know, I show up there, pretty girl comes out, I'm like, I guess I'm not getting robbed. You know, it's like, either way, I'm going to come out on top as long as I'm not dead. I'm always kind of just open to anything. You know what I mean? My friends are like, oh, let's light ourselves on fire, jump into a pool, let's freaking do it. Like, that's going to be a cool story. If I get hurt, it's going to be a great story, you know? All these, so like I said, the hairline fracture behind my eyeball. Love that story, you know? Running away from the cops. Like, even if I did get arrested, I knew it would, like, later on in life, I'd be like, yeah, I'd look back on that fondly, you know? I think it's more just being open to it. And then the ADD thing, most people can't believe that I do the photography, I do the graphic design, I do everything, but it's because I have to balance everything, because when I get bored of design, I trade it with photography. When I get bored with photography, I go back to design, or I'll go back to videography, and I'm just constantly bouncing through every single one, just boom, 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 boom. And if I just had one, I'd go insane. I'd go absolutely insane. The design is my foundation, but I keep like jumping and kind of shifting and moving. I want to drop gasoline scented air fresheners. I'll do those this week. I want to do this type of video. I'll do that next week. I'm never bored. I'm always entertained, you know? So that's why I do it.
And I feel like Faceless is bringing all that together.
Mm-hmm. It's a catalyst.
It brings everything into one. Take me to that first day you decided to put on the ski mask and never show your face again.
That's a good one. I'm trying to think of the first day. So I wouldn't say it's an actual first day. I would say when I started out designing, I made a page that would, it was just exhibiting my artwork. I never showed my face. It was just exhibiting my artwork. And then eventually, I think I went viral on Tumblr. And one day I woke up and I had like 800,000 reblogs on Tumblr. And it blew my stuff up. I got really well known. This was before Faceless. And I really had a set career in design and fashion. And I had looked up to fashion shows. Like I had looked up to brands like the Hundreds, Bobby Hundreds, like I said, Obey, Shepard Fairey. I'd looked up to these brands, and eventually I kind of wanted to get to a point where I was there with them. And I wanted some recognition, and so I started doing the fashion shows. I started doing trade shows. I started getting really big. I think I had my first brand that I started had over 50,000 followers. I was getting very creative with my design work, and by the time I had gotten to where I dreamed of, since I was much younger, I think I got there when I was like about 21, 22, maybe even 23. But by the time I got there, the climate of everything had changed so much that I was fed up. And what I mean by that is I finally get to the stomping grounds of all of the artists and brands that I had looked up to when I was a kid. And I'd found out it was almost a don't meet your heroes moment where meritocracy had been completely killed, and it was who was the most politically correct and the least offensive and the most agreeable. And this was about, I think, like 2018, 2017, something like that. I got there, and my design had evolved. I draw all of my own tattoos. You can see my work. I have my own signature style. And it's inspired by a lot of, it's kind of a blend of all of my inspirations and experiences. And I get there and I find out that people don't care if you're a good designer. They don't care if you're a good artist. They want to know if you're explicitly trans friendly, if you're explicitly urban, if you're going to be agreeable to where they can kind of blend you into their own little idea, bleed your brand dry, and then kick it to the curb. And me growing up fighting, riding motorcycles, shooting guns, doing what I do, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? That was like my first initial, like, it's probably isn't going to work for me, you know? And around the same time, I happened to be in a lawsuit with a really big company that had stolen work from my page. Actually work that had gone viral on Tumblr. They stole it from me. And I walk into Azumi's and I see it in Azumi's. So it's like these people are living the life that I wish I could live, but they don't want me. You know, they want to take my work and they want to take things that I could bring to the table, but they don't want me. And this was around the time where brands started being really politically, like, if you voted for Trump or if you like guns, then don't buy our stuff. I take that shit personally, dude. Like, I really do take that shit personally, where it's like you look up to a brand, an artist since you're 13 years old, and then he puts a big post about how if you believe in the border wall and you think that everyone should be able to own an AR-15, then you're not one of my fucking fans. Don't ever fucking buy any of my shit ever again. And I was like, I rarely bought stuff. I wasn't really a consumer, but I supported them hardcore. I was a huge fan of theirs. I'm like, okay, I'll just go do my own thing. And so everything.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is it about that hits you personally?
I think, I don't know if it was because I was much younger. Maybe I fell into the parasocial relationship with an artist. I think it was at one point I kind of hoped that I could meet these people and be able to do a collaboration or something with them. Because I think that my art is good enough to be able to get there. I do think that I have the capability to be able to blow up and do a collaboration with some of these people someday. And then I found out I don't even want to shake this motherfucker's hand. How could I share something that I find so sacred, or how can I share like an industry that I find so sacred with someone that if I met, would probably fucking slap in the face. You know what I mean? Like, it just made it like, and I think it just turned my world upside down. I thought these guys were cool. I thought they were punk rock. I thought I thought they raged against the machine, but it turned out they were just all for the machine. And if you want something that really blew my mind, and I'd met a manufacturer at this trade show, who actually did all the manufacturing for the BLM donation funds, basically. So the gist of it is, he explained to me, this guy's laughing, he's like some Greek dude wearing like Hollister and gold chains and shit. And he was like, dude, BLM's my biggest money maker, bro. I was like, what? At this time, you gotta keep in mind, I'm not faceless yet. I'm just some guy who has some strong political opinions that I keep to myself. So I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? He thinks I'm one of them. He thinks I'm with him. Bro, dude, and we're at this club because there was an after party. We're at this club and this guy's telling me this whole thing about how, dude, so a brand comes to me and they say they want to do a BLM donation, or like basically we're doing BLM shirts with our brand name on it, and we're going to donate all of the proceeds to BLM, right? Or any sort of like activist company or activist corporation. What the fuck are they called? Limited, what's the word for them? LLC? Not LLC.
Nonprofit?
Nonprofits, like donations, nonprofits, all that stuff. They're going to donate all the proceeds to them. He tells me that when they do that, they mark up the shirt as if it costs $18 to produce. And he looks at me straight in the face. He goes, you and me both know it don't cost $18 to produce a shirt. And I go, yeah, so what are you getting at? He goes, well, it costs us about $4.20 to make a shirt if we're really putting the bells and whistles on it. He goes, between that $4.25 or whatever into that $18, that's where my moneymaker is. And I make 50% of that, and the brand makes the other 50%. And I was like, so you are helping sow the seeds of racial infighting and rioting and like hate for the fellow American through fashion, all for profit. And you don't have any care in the world about it. He's like, what do you mean? Didn't even register in his head. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even, faceless now. Back then, I wasn't as much of an asshole. I was an asshole, but I was just like, dude, I'm good. Walked away from him. But nowadays, I'd probably fucking get up and I'd probably slap him and be like, dude, you're a fucking bitch. Walk away. Like, fuck you, dog. I was just like, I'm good, bro. I don't want what you're fucking selling. And I think maybe I was just so disappointed I didn't even have any more fight in me. I was like, this has all been a lie. It's all been a lie.
Yeah, you're looking behind the curtain and you're like, what the fuck?
Peek behind the curtain of the fashion industry, and it was mind-blowing. Not only that, the whole time I was there, Knuckles was with me. He's on my podcast. He's a mogul. He's like a millionaire motorcycle rider. He's laughing because he helped me get there. He helped me set up. He paid my way there, right? We got invited, but we had to pay for a booth and a spot. Whole time he's laughing. He's like, just watch until we. I go, what do you mean? He goes, when you go to a big fashion show, no one shakes your hand. No one's looking at you in the eye. No one's treating you with respect. They don't care. And I was an actual retailer with a promising future, an actual brand. And it was almost like well, I wasn't a retailer. I was an actual brand with a promising future. The retailers and the wholesalers came up and tried to treat me like shit. I'm like, fuck. They're looking at my shirts. Ew, what is this made out of? What is this? This isn't cotton. This is 60/40. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, that's a fucking next level CVC with barrel tapered shoulders. It's a streetwear shirt. It looks cool on people, but they're picking apart everything, treating you like shit. Flash forward, Knuckles is like, just wait till we get to like, this show's a quarter of what that is. Do I get to a few months? This is my first time ever going. I get there, and the first night of I'm just some desert rat to these people. I have millionaire company owners that are shaking my hand and playing pool with me and, oh, you're cool, bro, like laughing with me. We're having drinks together. Well, not me, but everybody in the room's having drinks. And, I'm playing Pong with one owner of one company who's a millionaire. And I'm also playing pool at the same time with another company of some guy who makes slides, right? And it kind of changed my whole outlook on the fashion versus the gun industry. I was like, dude, these are millionaires that have more money than anyone in that building, and they're shaking my hand and treating me with respect, that's when Faceless was created, because of the fact that I've been in the gun industry for a while. I didn't touch on it, but people heard in the fashion industry that I sell guns and pretty much what I do in the gun industry, and they blackballed me. They didn't like it. They're so against it. Once they found out that we were in the gun industry, it was done. Like, the brand was dead on arrival as far as it came with any sort of retailers getting into Zoomies or Tilly's or any of those guys, PacSun, any of that stuff. A few months later, I go to SHOT Show, and all these guys are treating me with respect, talking to me about graphic design, about my, the future of my company. And I was like, dude, this is it. Like, I want to make stuff for these people. Like, I want to make things. Like, I want to be, I want to be here. And then I started getting a little bit more introspective, and I wanted to be the Bobby Hundreds or the Mike Giant or the Stussy of the newer generation coming up. I wanted them to look to me, but I don't want them, when we hit a certain age, for their world to be flipped upside down with me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want them to get to a certain age. I know I'm very politically, expressive now, but I could I really could, I could just talk to people. I'm so far not left or right that there's actually people on the left that follow me, as weird as it is. I know I say bad words that aren't allowed. You know what I mean? I know I say things as, for the shock value humor, but I would say I'm so anarchist that I'm almost I'm on the other side of the spectrum, to where I would say I'm a communist, but I'm so far out there that almost none of it affects me. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't really play by their paradigm rules, I guess I should say. So I want to be that guy for those kids that are growing up, that are looking at me, that, I want them to look at me and like, man, I'd love to chill with Faceless. He's inspiring. He's this, he's that. And I don't want them to get to a certain point to where they find out like, oh, damn, Faceless has been part of this machine the whole time. I don't want that. So that's kind of my goal, is to, that's when I put the mask on and I really started going full force into it. Is like, I want to be that for somebody. And I think I've executed it already, but I think I can execute it on a much more grand scale. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think there has been people that have hit me up. I'm like, man, you've been inspiring. I think there's different avenues that you can go down. And I just decided I'm not going to be in any retail stores. I'm going to sell online. I have a private server that's housed by some guy in Tennessee. No one can ever shut me down. My website's like a completely separate thing.
You're basically, see, that's your why. Mm-hmm. That's the why of Faceless, mm-hmm. is to not be part of the machine. Yep. Because every culture, every community that I've been a part of, there's always that dark side where you look behind the curtain. It's like, oh, these motherfuckers are just in it for the money. They're in it for clout. They're in it, you know what I mean?
I can completely agree with you on there. Like, it's the same thing. I was in the fashion industry. To keep the camaraderie of BJJ in my life, I got into weightlifting. I became a personal trainer, and because of my own personal experiences, I wanted to help people lose weight and gain muscle. Same thing, dude. All these people that are buying their way into a movement, buying their way steroids, being a fake. Someone does steroids, they become a guru on fitness because they look good. I have a degree in kinesiology and nutrition. Like, these guys are coming up to me and telling me shit that just makes absolutely no sense about you can actually transform fat into muscle. No, you can't. They're two completely different things. Like, they don't understand the energy pathways. They don't get, you know what I mean? And it's like, they're buying their way into it. Let's talk about the gun industry. All these dudes spending $7,000 on a Leopold scope. Unless you're doing competition where the freaking centimeter, the 1/1000th of a centimeter matters, you don't need that much. And most of the dudes that are buying them, most of the dudes that are buying nods they're getting kitted out, they're not doing competitions in that way. They're trying to buy their way into a movement. Motorcycles, fashion, you know what I mean? It's all the same shit. It's all people doing that,
We get to your why. Like, what's the goal of this? Like, what is it that you want to do? Like, how far do you want to grow this? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
my goal has been to show the best and worst sides of me without ever actually showing my face. The best and worst sides of me, like the polar opposites of the stuff that I'm into, the things that, and doing it in a very artistic and creative way, perception, kind of like controlling my media and trying to become a master of it. I thought it'd be funny for a while if like, what if I became an anti-influencer and I never took off the mask, and it's like, how the hell is that guy sponsored by In-N-Out or some shit? I don't think that's ever going to happen now. But for a while I thought that'd be pretty funny, where it's like, you know, I'm in some commercial and just everyone kind of gets the joke. They're like, everyone kind of gets it. They're like, that's Faceless, you know. But I've done some stuff like that. I want to do some stuff like that. My whole goal is to just grow, have other people tell their stories. I want to have a studio, like an actual committed commercial studio that I live in, that I can do my screen printing, my design. I want creative freedom is what I want. If I want to buy like a mail truck and convert it into like an armored Mad Max vehicle and paint it, like I want to be able to do that, you know. And with that, unfortunately, comes money. But I want the biggest hurdle for me is not being controlled by money and not letting money control my creative. You know, so I'm tweaking things to where I can be sustainable in that way, where I don't have to go to some board meeting and then go like, ooh, that was a little too racy. Maybe you can tone it down a little bit. You know what I mean? I just want complete creative freedom. And that's whether, you know, that's just building, like I already said, just building the foundation and getting myself to that point, being able to have complete control over it.
And you talk about that freedom. Take me to your podcast, like your podcast idea about having people tell these crazy stories, but they never have to show their face. Mm-hmm. Like, I just explained it, but you go ahead and explain what your podcast is about.
Well, growing up in this desert, you come along people that, it's funny because I think people think I'm the exception when I'm really not the exception. People think that, there's a lot of people that have moved here and they're like, man, that guy Faceless is larger than life. I know for as many like normal people there are, there's a lot of Facelesses that are out there. There really is, dude. I go to house parties and this guy's telling me this crazy story that's like, it's unbelievable, but you know he didn't make it up. I go to biker meets. I ride my Harley to a rally and I meet this guy who was an ex-bank robber. He's telling me, and these are all desert dudes. These are all crazy desert people that were in the desert. You either, you know, you either like become successful, you get creative with your success, or you become a drug addict. You know what I mean? Like there's no in between here. It's either you move away, you go to the college, you know, you do something like that. But if you stay here, you only have those choices. And usually that breeds crazy stories, crazy things happen. I think this place is a little bit more of an exception versus other places. It's almost like Area 51 because you stumble upon some strangers and freaks types of things. But, you know, like I met this guy telling me this crazy story about how he escaped from a Mexican prison when he was 16 years old, telling me like it's a normal story. And the funny thing is I was agreeing with him like it's a normal story because I have crazy ones too. But the people watching us talk were like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about, dude? You moved cocaine in and out of the United States and got stopped before the border and locked into a Mexican prison for a year and escaped? Like, that's insane. And I thought about it and I'm like, hey, would you do a podcast, you know, and tell this? He goes, no, I'd never tell anyone this story. I'd never go on YouTube and tell this. And I was like, what if you wore a mask the whole time? And he's like, dude, that sounds awesome. I think for the most part, everyone has at least one story that they would love to tell to a wide audience. I think here we get more people that have a lot more stories that they want to tell. But I just opened my horizons completely by guaranteeing them their anonymity. They can wear a mask the whole time. You put a mask on somebody and they'll do a crazy dance in front of a camera versus they would never do that in their wildest dreams without the mask. So for me, the way the mask got started, if I'm being completely honest, the way I got started with the mask was I wanted my anonymity. I thought it'd be really cool, and I've kind of executed it in a way where if I got really well known, I could just take the mask off and nobody would know who I am, so I could just live a normal life. And I have done that in some like fan meetup situations, wore a long sleeve and no one knew who I was the whole time. No one guessed it. But the second thing that I thought was really cool, have you ever heard about why teddy bears and toys back in the days were actually made without any sort of facial expressions, why they were always neutral? It's because they wanted the children playing with them to project their emotions onto that teddy bear or that toy. And I thought that would be I wanted to see if that would translate to this and help me connect with my viewers in a much different light than if I just went on and showed my face. And to be quite honest, I think I've been successful at it. I think people can relate with me in a different way when I'm telling my stories, because they're not looking at like the person behind the mask. They're trying to get into, they're projecting themselves into the story. And that is why I also make my guests wear the mask. I think people watch the stories and they're like, whoa, like, man, what would I do if I was locked in the Mexican prison? I think they do that more so with me. And that, I mean, it's all hypothesis. It's all a cute idea I have, but from the reviews I've gotten from people messaging me, telling me that some of my stories like have saved their lives because they were majorly depressed and stuff. It's like, I think it works.
Yeah, you're 3 episodes in, right?
I'm working on my 3rd episode of my podcast, but on my YouTube, I have a lot of like my YouTube, my Instagram, I've told a good amount of my stories without a guest. So I'm working on my 3rd podcast right now
with another guest, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the idea is crazy. It's awesome. It's unique. It's like I'm listening to it. Just the fact that that person's able to just to tell this story, knowing that they showed their face, probably getting some deep shit. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes it even that much better.
And the cool thing about it is now people are coming out of the woodwork, and I have street cred. They know that I'm a fucking down-ass fool. I do crazy shit, and above all else, I care about discretion. And they come up. I'll be out somewhere, and somewhere where I'm a little bit more well-known, certain places. And I've had people come up to me and they go, yo, are you faceless? I'll see them pointing at me from across the room, and they'll be like pointing at, see my tattoos and shit. And they go, yo, are you faceless? Huh? Yeah, I'm faceless. Dude, let me tell you where the bodies are hidden. And I'm like, oh, and I have these guys who are spilling beans on crimes they've never been caught for. And I'm like, you're booked for September. You know what I mean? Like we're down. So, and it's stuff that I know it can't possibly be like, you can't make this shit up. So I'm starting to get this name where people want to come on and they're like, man, I've been wanting to tell this story, but I just don't have the avenue for it. I want a memoir about my life because I've lived this crazy life. I don't want these people to die without being able to tell their story.
You think there's a limit, like, to the craziness? Like,
I don't want there to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll sign an NDA. I've signed plenty of NDAs. Like, I'll make them sign NDAs. I will do whatever we got to do, man. Like, I don't think there's a limit. I think I have to maneuver in certain ways where I can't be implicated. A lot of these stories that I've heard is shit that happened in like the 80s and 90s. And if I'll be honest, the guys who've came up and told me stuff never even told me their names. I don't know their names. So I'm like, cool, like, maybe I'll have you on. Like, we'll figure it out. Somehow I'll here's my email. Maybe we could do that, Yeah. So I want to try to keep it strict. And when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about serial killers. I'm talking about dudes who were caught up in like some crazy, like flying a Cessna plane and, like crashing it and cartel comes out and one of their friends gets taken type shit, like weird, crazy drug runner, like 80s Uzis and crazy stuff. So it's like, that's the stuff that I like, man.
Yeah, you're getting deep into the humanity, like what we are and who we are as people.
Yeah.
It gets fogged out, it gets all messed up when people start bringing politics into it and they start bringing what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're just fucking people.
Yes.
I think the stories are fucking awesome.
Isn't that a great evolution of Zero Sleep? Because initially I started off with compilation videos. I just started off making compilation videos of real life instances of people defending themselves with firearms. And I put some really cool music behind it to make it a little bit more commercialized and cool looking, like XXX Tentacion and Biggie, Tupac, like just crazy like remixes of songs. And people, as fucked up as it sounds, it like commercialized like real life instances. But I knew that was the only way to get it in front of people. And some of my videos blew up. I had one video that was like on Facebook. I had a Facebook one, Zero Sleep Facebook, and it was like a video would pop up, start getting hundreds of thousands of views, they'd take it down. Another video, I'd post another one, hundreds of thousands of views, they take it down. You know, but those people still saw that and was like, oh, that was kind of, you know, I grew up watching Live Leak. Is that, you know, that meme where you're like, me at the dinner table at 8 years old after watching someone getting beheaded, you know, like that type of shit. So I'm like, let me try to adapt that. But it's an evolution of what I've already been doing. It's an evolution deeper, like you said, into the humanity of it, into like real life instances of how shit can get real quick.
Yeah.
You know, and like, just like even that story that, you know, that story of me running away from the cops, if we're being quite honest, I could have been arrested and I could have like seriously been charged with, it could have ruined my life. Like they could have been like breaking and entering, you now have a juvenile record, like you're done. You know, because I was 17 around that age, and I don't know if they'd charged me as an adult. It could have been really serious. And that escalated quick. Things happen like that all the time. They escalate really quickly. You know, you think you're just doing something normal and then boom. It's like everything, your life's changed. So
you're a problem solver. I think that's what you call it ADD, but I think you're just a problem solver. I think you're really good at solving problems.
I think I'm good at coping. Yeah. I think I'm good at rationalizing shit.
I gotta say this, like talking to you for like, I think we're already almost in that hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking hard to look at the green the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it
your eyes are crossing, dog. I see your eyes crossing on me, bro. Just hold on, you're like...
Nah, but it's...
That's what it is, dude. I'm freaking... It's a spiral, dude.
Yeah.
I'm spiraling you right now.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I'm making you... It's mind control, dog.
No, but so we got into the why, the what you're gonna do, and
mm-hmm.
and no, before we go, like I think it was interesting. We talked about it before, and it's a weird segue, but you do have a Tinder.
Yeah, I do have a Tinder. Yeah.
Like, so, is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about the Tinder, dog.
Like,
totally.
To me, I'd even coming over here, it never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Like, is this motherfucker on Tinder using Faceless?
Yeah, 100%. And believe it or not, it works amazingly. It works amazingly. I don't like, it's,
Before you say it, so let me just say that you're on Tinder using the face mask. Your profile is showing you without your face, and it's all the faceless stuff on Tinder.
There's no pictures of me that exist online. Like, there's no pictures of me that exist. So it's only the ski mask photos. It's only, it's funny thing is I've had girls that I've dated after them, like, knowing me personally. They're like, I've tried Googling you and you don't exist. Like, yeah, no, I was just a guy, like, that just started doing this. Like, I'm not, there's no paper trail of me, you know? And it started off where I thought it'd be cool. I don't know how to search for local talent. I thought it'd be cool if I can start like music videos or things that I want to do. Like, how cool would it be if I have a chick who's an aspiring model and I have her like in a bikini with a ski mask on, I have the gold AK and she's like sitting on my lap. Like, maybe I can go on Tinder and like find that. And I just posted all these things, and then it turns out that it's like the ski mask is like the best aphrodisiac. Like it's insane. And the only reason I know that is because I can compare it to my friends. Most of my friends are having a hard time on there, and it's because if you look at it, it's like, I think one of my friends actually made a girl Tinder. He made like a female Tinder just to see how bad the ratio is. It's like 800 to 1. It's insane. But these girls are swiping through, and then they see this like psychotic dude in a ski mask with a flamethrower, and with tattoos, riding a Harley, and they're like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? So I think they get curious and they swipe on me, and then we start talking, and they're like, wait, you're actually intelligent, and you're actually funny, and you're actually, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, here's my Instagram. They see my Instagram, they're like, oh, and you make cool content, and you know, and it's just like, I still haven't gotten a girl to model with me, but yeah, the Tinder thing is extremely successful.
Take me, your first time going on a Tinder date. Like, what's going through your head? Like, do I wear the mask? Like, do I not wear the mask?
I have to be, like, as weird as this sounds, I have to be weary Because I want to make sure when I'm like dating that some women they just don't have a mask fetish. Like, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. You have a mask fetish, go ahead. Like, that's cool. But I've had so many girls that are like, can you show up in the mask and can you fuck me in the mask and all this? And I'm like, that's pretty equivalent to a dude asking a chick to pay her bag. You know what I mean? I'm like, just look at me first and see what you think. Like, see what you think. You know, I'm not going to put on a mask around the corner and then drive to your house. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's so odd. Like, I'm already weird enough, dog. I'm
got
so
morals.
fucking, yeah. I'm so weird, dude. This is how weird I am with women, and they still love me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm driving in an 87 Toyota MR2, and I'm driving forward, and the car the car almost gotten stolen 3 times. So the ignition's completely destroyed. All the wires are hanging out. Super pretty girl in my passenger seat. Just picked her up from her house. Driving. The key actually can come out of the ignition, and because it's such an old key, it's rounded out. Because of that, it's like the perfect it's the perfect tool to pick your ear with. And while I'm driving, I just go kind of blank. I'm like, like this is a good time to like almost subconsciously, I pulled this car key out of my ear, cleaned a huge glob of earwax off. I wiped it on my shirt. Pull this one, I fucking huge thing of earwax, wiped that on my shirt, put it right back in my car. And then I remember that she's in my car with me, and I look, and she's staring at me in horror. And I, dude, straight up was like, I'm gonna take you home. Like, dude, we didn't even get to the location. Turned around, took her home. She still hit me up. She was like, it was okay. Like, no, I could not forget the way you were fucking looking at me. I was like grunting like an ogre. I was like, oh, no, she looked over, was like pretty girl from the freaking upper middle class girl. Was like, what the fuck did I get myself into? So that's how I am with chicks, dude. I'm like, really don't like. I think after doing that so many times, I don't even care anymore. Like, I'll clean my ear with a car key in front of a girl now. Like, I think they like that. I think they like the transparency, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's you're you.
Yeah, I just don't care.
You're okay with being you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird because you're wearing a mask, you're not showing yourself, so it doesn't come off that you're comfortable with being you. But we're in a world now where the shit, you can't do that because it's really gonna fucking fuck up your money.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one reason why you can't do it. Like, you can't fucking take out the mask and do all the shit that you're doing.
You can't. Yeah, I've had so many like cancel culture campaigns against me. Like, so much campaigns try to get me, and it's like, what are you gonna do? You don't know who I am. You don't know where I'm at. Like, you don't know my name. You don't know, and anything. Even if they were somehow to get a letter to the place that I work at, we would laugh. It would be funny. Like, if they wrote some, like, we're never going to buy from you again, we would just laugh at it. So to add on to the Faceless thing, that's one of the biggest beauties of it is I'm untouchable. I'm absolutely untouchable. Like, there's no doxing that's going to happen. Like, I'm not really registered anywhere. I don't know if you want to keep this in, but I haven't paid taxes in 5 years. Like, I really haven't. 5 years, dude. I'm very close to 6. I'm like a few months away from 6. So it's all under the table. The government thinks I'm homeless. Like, they think I'm a homeless person. But you've seen the way I live. I'm nowhere near from that. Yeah. You know? I'm not benefiting off the government's dime. I just like, leave me alone. When the COVID checks came out, I called them. I was like, how do I return this? And yeah, I probably should have donated it. But they were like, you can't. I was like, I don't want this shit. And they're like, well, you're basically homeless. And like, in my head, I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. But like, you know, just because I'm unregistered, I'm undocumented, they're like, you have to have it. And I'm like, I can't fucking refund this. Like, I can do a chargeback. Like, I don't want it because people were frauding that shit, you know, and I didn't want it, but I just took it and I was like, okay, I'll put that in savings, I guess. Like, they forced us into freaking communism there. Like, but yeah, that's, you know, there's no cancellation that can really happen of me. And even if there was, I would own that shit for real.
I think cancellation is a fear. I think, like, talking to you right now, like, I think cancellation is a fear that
Freddy Krueger. It's a boogeyman.
Yeah, well, I think people doing that, people like freaking out and wanting to cancel you, I think that's their own fear.
Oh yeah.
Of like, of them thinking that the world has there's this justice where everything's going to be fixed. And it's not. Like, you just said you haven't paid taxes in almost 6 years. And it's like, there's a lot of shit going down that's so fucking corrupt you're very minuscule to what's actually happening in the fucking world.
That is true. Yeah, that's kind of my biggest like not worry about it is when I tell a normal person these things, they're like, how are you doing that? I'm like, dude, they don't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
They don't care about me, dude. They care about the people who are like making the big bucks, and you know, they care about the people. I know they like to fuck over the small guy. You know what I mean? But I'm just a small percentage of the people who are using the COVID payments. I knew a guy who used the COVID payments and bought a boat. He got like a $12,000 COVID payment and bought a boat. I was like, hey, buddy, you don't have a truck or a trailer. What the fuck are you gonna do with your boat? He stored it at the lake for a year and then had to sell it for half of what he got it for.
Yeah.
Because he spent all the rest of his money on storage. And that's who they give a shit about, is those dumbasses that are doing stuff like that. Like guys like me, probably gonna come after me someday, but like I'm just a small dot, small blip on the map, especially because I don't take advantage. I'm just like, leave me the fuck alone, I'll leave you guys alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I'm gonna go do my own thing. You know what I mean?
That's fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. This is fucking, for me, as just a human being, doing this, like, has been a fucking experience.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is, to me, like, because I'm all about, like, getting perspective on the world. Like, I have, I'm, like, going into this, I'm like, fuck, how do I have an opinion when I've only been to San Jose and Los Baños?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I at 33, I don't have an opinion. I need to... I tell myself, like, by the time I'm 40, then I'll have an opinion. Mm-hmm. Then I'll know if Faceless, man, maybe that guy was a really good guy, or maybe that guy, he was fucking dirtbag. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And from right now, I'm like, fucking Faceless is dope. Mm-hmm. It was fucking sick.
Yeah. But I said that when I was 15. I'm like, I can't wait till I'm 25 to have an opinion. Yeah. Then at 25, I can't wait till I'm 30 to have an opinion. You know what I mean? I think it's subjective. I think you're like, things like this is what gives you perspective. I don't think you really need to travel to get the perspective, but meeting the people, and you know what I mean? Like, and I guess that's traveling to some people, but not in the way that it's said in Instagram nowadays, where people get off the plane, take a picture of the beach, then go the fuck home just to say they can do it. Yeah. You know, you travel to the Brigadoons, the nowhere. Like, you travel to Area 51, dog. You travel to Roswell to get some perspective. People are, you know, this isn't Roswell, New Mexico, but this is...
Might as well be.
We might as well be. It's
I was in a fucking video game when I rolled up. I was like, what? GTA, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Strangers and freaks. Like, we're riding a freaking little pit bike up a mountain, you know, and like, that's this place. You came out here's perspective. You didn't go to fucking, you're not some fucking 25-year-old chick getting fucked on a boat in Havasu. Perspective. You know what I mean? Like, you're actually doing it.
Yeah, it's fucking dope, man. And I think you're onto something. I like I said when we talked before, I want to come back eventually, maybe a year down the road or something, and see where you're at. And let's go do some cool shit right now. And and anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Not much, man. Just watch my podcast. That's it. Listen to the stories.
How do people watch all that shit?
My YouTube currently is under the moniker Scumlord. It's SKVMLORD. That's the name on there, just because Faceless was taken. But that's where I'm posting everything currently, and I just want to be able to build that up and get people watching this stuff, because it's just something, in my opinion, that's not being done. I don't even know if it has been done, but this is a weird twist on that for sure. So.
It's I think it's fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And everybody at the bar that I work at, they all fucking listen, and they think it's cool.
That's really cool. Diego's a hoe-ass bitch. Diego's a hoe. Yo, Diego, you're a fucking hoe. Fuck you, Diego. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's cool. But thank you for doing this, man. We're gonna go do some cool shit. Catch his YouTube. You don't have it on audio yet, huh?
No, I don't know if I want to diversify. I want to kind of just like get everybody at one spot, and then try to move them to another spot. That might not work out the best. But I noticed it's like, I don't want 100 viewers on Apple, 100 viewers on Spotify, 100. I want everyone to go to one location right now. Yeah. That's all I want, you know. So just YouTube and Instagram. Instagram is just Faceless. That's all it is.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. There's going to be more content, more traveling content. I'm going to be traveling throughout America, finding different guests. Faceless was the first guest out of all of them. There's more content to come. If you guys are interested in watching, if you guys want that content, click subscribe to the channel. I want to grow this channel as big as possible to get these stories out there. And if you want to see my 2 days I spent with Faceless, go ahead and click the next video. Click that video. I think it's somewhere. Boom, boom, boom. One of those. It's going to be coming out. Should be coming out like 2 days after this comes out. So if it's not there yet, my bad. But it's one of these videos. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, guys. Share it with a friend. I love you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.